Welcome. Today we're going to be making a very straight and simple gown. This is just a straight gown, a fitted gown, and this is very simple to make. So let's get right into the video. So for this material, I have 2 yards of material, 2 yards, and with these 2 yards now I'm folding my body measurement. So I just folded into two just like this, and then folded again into another two, leaving 1.5 inches for my zip allowance. So once I've gotten this 1.5 for my zip allowance, I'll be marking from this side that let me turn it over to the other side. But from that side I have my zip allowance. That's where I'll be marking my neck, and both the front and the back neck, this side. So I'll be cutting the length right now. I'm just cutting the length because of the edges towards this end. I'm going to be taking cutting the clothes from the other end. I will cut it out and then show you. I want this part that has these edges to be the down part. So for this reason, I'll be cutting it up at the upper part. And this material I'm using is 2 yards of material, but it is by 60 inches. The length is by 60 inches, is by 60, not 45. So I have cut out the length of my gown. Right now I'll be taking the measurement for my neck width. First of all, I'm ensuring that I have 1.5 inches for my zip. If it's more than it, I'm marking it out so I can cut it off. So look at this side. I'm not going to mark my neck that side. I'll mark it on this side I'm opening now. This side that has an opening, this side that has the zip allowance, that's where I'll mark my neck. So from this point I'll just get my neck depth, and then I'll get my neck width. You can use as much as you want. So for my neck width I use 3. At this point you can mark your shoulder, but first let me finish with the neck before I mark my shoulder. So 3 for my neck width, and then for my neck depth I'll just use about 5.5, so that when I'm done sewing I can achieve 6. So I will just rule from my neck width to the neck depth to my neck width. I'll just rule to get a box first or a square first before I curve. I'll just give it a little curve. So that's for my front neck. Now for my back neck, I will do almost the same thing for my back neck. For my back neck I'm using 2. So I'll just rule from my neck width, connect it straight, and then curve. You saw the way I connected it. This back neck will go all the way to that zip allowance, but the front neck will only come from the front part. Now for my shoulder is 15. That's 7.5. But I'll add 1/2 inch for my sewing allowance, which will give me 8. So at 8 I marked. Then I will check my armhole. My armhole is 8.5. I'm using 8.5 for this armhole. So I will still make a square, and then I'll close it up before I curve it. So I'll just curve a little. Let me thicken the line so you can see it very well. Okay, so I'll just curve from this part. This is for my back armhole. Now for my front armhole, I'll come out by 1/2. But first of all, I'm measuring the length to be sure I have 8.5. Then I'll get the half of 8.5 by keeping the tip of my tape on 8.5. Then I'll fold it. Then look at where I have 4.2. At 4.2, I'll place this tape on my clothes. At 4.2, I'll mark it. This is half of my armhole. Some people use 5, some people just do anyhow, but this is the way, that I do it. So I'll just curve out for my front armhole. So next I'll be having my shoulder slant. I'm having 1 inch for my shoulder slant. I will connect from my neck down to my armhole. This is 1 inch. Okay, so we're done with that part. We're now going down to the main body measurement. I'm going to briefly explain how to calculate with your tape. Now for my bust, I have the bust of 40 as my bust. So I'm keeping the tip of my tape and placing it on 40. Sorry, let me just do it again. I have half of 40 as 20. Then from 20 I will now calculate 4 inches. I added 4 inches on 20 and I have 24. I placed my tip again at 24 to get 12. Now if you do 40 and add 4 inches just like I did and then get half of it, you will get 11, and that's short of 1 inch. But when you do 40 divided by 2 and get 20 plus 4 inches to get 24, then you divide by 2 again, you will have 12. So it is better that you add 4 inches once you have divided first. Don't go and add 40. If you have bust of 40 plus 4, then divide it by 2. No, you will short by 1 inch. So that's the little math. So from there I'll be marking my half length. Now another illustration here is, look at this point where I marked my half length. My half length is 17. So I will take, for my bust, I already measured 12 for my bust. Now at my half length, I'll be measuring my half length again. With this same method, my half length is 36. I'll do 36 divided by 2 to get 18. Okay, so I'll do 18 plus 4 inches divided by 2 to get my half length. I'll be placing this 11 and marking it exactly at 11. So that's it. Now if you want your gown to have a division, at the waist, some people don't just like straight gown, they like that division. You don't have to, you must not cut the upper part differently. This thing is that you just add like 1 inch down, so that you can have ½ inch to join this part, the waist and the upper part of this cloth. That is if you want it to have a division. It's not compulsory. If you just want to sew a very straight gown, you can just go ahead and mark your measurements, and that's all. But if you want to have a division, you can go down. If like this 17 is my half length, I went down by 1 inch, ½ inch for up, ½ inch for down. That's for your sewing allowance. Then that's it. So right now I'm marking my hip. My hip, from there I have 24. This is from my shoulder to my hip. I have 24. So I'll be marking my hip. I'll be placing my hip measurement at this point. So my hip is 41. So I'll divide 41 into 2. This 41 into 2, and it gave me 20.5. So I'll add ½ inch. Look at it. I'm adding 4 inches in 20 and a half, and that gave me 24 and a half. I will divide 24 and a half into 2, and I have 12 point something. That 12 point something, now I can easily approximate it to 12.5 if it will be difficult, but there's nothing difficult there. That place the tape showed you, just mark it. Sure you understand? Okay, so from there I'll just connect upward. Very simple gown, very simple. We're almost done. So from there I will just connect from this hip point down, because it's not a pencil skirt, it's not a pencil gown rather, so I'll just connect it down. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Okay, so I'm just cutting out this armhole now. I just cut out the back, I didn't cut out the front yet, and I'm cutting out the front now. So I'm cutting out the front neck as well. And there's it. Oh, the gown is ready. I'll cut out the excesses at that zip allowance. And that half length is not important if you don't want to divide it, but it's important if you want to divide it. Now for the armhole, I'm just measuring my armhole round. This is very simple way to cut your sleeve. So I just folded into 2 first, then I folded again. See the way I folded it? Okay, for this part now I'll have to check. You know, I got 11 when I measured my armhole. I have to make sure that this particular part is up to 11. If it's not up to 11, you adjust it so you don't have hiccups when fixing your armhole. It's better that it is excess than it is shorter than what is expected. Now this is what I'm measuring, the length where I want the sleeve to reach. So I stopped at 14. This is my sleeve length. I'm just measuring my sleeve length. So that's it. So I will mark the upper part. This is taking 4 inches from there, and then I will just slope to the end as if I am moving in a vehicle, as if I'm drawing a vehicle, just something like that, something very similar. Okay, what I just checked now was my round sleeve. Okay, so I just sloped down or sloped up to the end, and that's it. So my round sleeve is important too. I'll just check it at this point. This is measuring your arm. So I have 7 as my round sleeve, then I added 2 inches allowance, so that's 9. You can use 1, but it's better for it to be much than for it to be shorter. So that's it. So I'll just simply cut it out so it will be clearer, and that's it. Okay, see the clothes now. I've turned them with lining. I've turned each of the panels with lining, the front and the back. Now let me place the back differently so you can see it. I've not fixed the zipper yet, but I'm going to be fixing it right away. So this is the back, and that's the front. So I'll just join them together and fix my sleeve, and that's all.